Hello, everybody. We'll see. That'll be fun to chat, to talk about. Maybe I'll do some card pulls. We'll see. Let's see. All right, if anybody's there, welcome in. I am trying to go live. Just note that I can't see the chat very well, so I am, oh yay. Okay, we can see it. Yay. Okay. Oh, we're good. Okay, so I've got filming on my phone and I have it live on the computer too, so hopefully you won't hear a feedback. On my phone and I have it live on the computer too, so hopefully you won't hear a feedback. On my phone and I have it live on the computer too, so hopefully you won't hear a feedback. But this should allow me to be able to hopefully see the chat. But this should allow me to be able to hopefully see the chat. But this should allow me to be able to. Yeah, there's a feedback, so it is what it is, y'all. But I'm learning. I don't know why. Why do I have a squeal? So it is what it is, y'all. But I'm learning. Okay. There's a squeal, there's a feedback. I'm gonna have to work on that. I don't know. All right. 1 second. All right, I turned off the mic on the computer. Let's see if anyone can actually hear this. If you're here, I see Nikki in the chat. Hey, Green Eye Devil. Let me know if you can hear me, okay? Because I turned off the microphone on my computer. I'm just hoping that I can read the chat on there. Yep, I got it. Yay. Okay, everyone. So I'm just going to start with, so right now my head is all into the Lunar New Year stuff. So I thought I would just share a little bit about some of the traditions and the do's and the don'ts since we are coming up to the Lunar New Year, February 17th. Thank you. So the Lunar New Year, I had posted a pretty long read. Well, it was not super long. It was like an hour and a half on YouTube, talking about the Lunar New Year. And I misspoke in the video. You know how you just get a date stuck in your head and you just keep repeating it. I do that all the time with doctor's appointments and other stuff. So, but anyway, I kept saying that the Lunar New Year starts February 7th because apparently I'm so excited. I want it to hurry up and start February 7th, but it actually starts February 17th, which is a Tuesday. Yep, 17th. And I did correct that in the description on the YouTube video. But I know that people are just going to hear what they're going to hear and they're just going to think I'm an idiot, but it is what it is. So, hi, muy petito. So tonight, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the Lunar New Year traditions and the do's and the don'ts. And then I might do some card pulls, you know, but I just wanted to get on here and do that. So So just like any other holiday that anyone has, there's all kinds of traditions. Right now, what everyone really is typically doing as they gear up for the Lunar New Year is, right now you're supposed to be getting your shopping done for the foods that you need, getting any haircuts that you need, and buying new clothes to wear for the Lunar New Year for the family reunion dinner. So the reason that you want to get your clothes now, and you want to get any new shoes now, and you want to get your haircuts now, is you don't want to be doing any of that during the Lunar New Year, especially at least during like the first 5 to 8 days. It's considered really bad luck to go shopping for new clothes, to cut your hair, to cut anything really. There's a certain number of days that you're not allowed to use knives or scissors or things like that, because it's considered cutting your long life and cutting your luck. So, oh, hey, Universal Soul Chatter. Thank you. Gong hai pat choi. So that's what tonight's live is all about, is the upcoming Lunar New Year and those traditions. So right now, if you're preparing for Lunar New Year, like I said, you want to get your haircuts done now. You want to buy your new clothes, your new shoes. Think about your menu and the ingredients and buy those things a little bit ahead of time. You want to make sure that you have them in time for February 16th through 16th being the day before, because that's the Lunar New Year's Eve. So, and we'll talk about that. And it's the bulk of the holiday. The public holiday is like 7-8 days where things are shut down, governments are shut down, businesses are shut down, so people can travel back home and be with their families. And then the traditions carry on for another week, and then the final end of the Spring Festival or Lunar New Year celebration is on it's actually March 3rd, where they have the Lantern Festival. But so also during this time leading up to the Lunar New Year on February 17th is you want to be getting your house in order. So that includes paying off any debts that you have to others, paying any bills that you can, serious house cleaning, just like you would for any other celebration. But the purpose behind the house cleaning now, yes, this would be the biggest holiday. So it's kind of a it's much bigger than an American New Year celebration. Like ours is really just, one night, New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day, people were celebrating. But for the, for people who celebrate Lunar New Year, not just Chinese, because it's celebrated in a lot of different Asian cultures, yeah, it's a huge holiday. It's all about family togetherness. In my mind, it's kind of like a coming back together for like a Thanksgiving and celebrating the harvest, and an excuse to party and get together, and all those things. So yeah, so much fun. I can see you on the chat on the laptop. I'm so excited about that because I cannot read it on the phone. Yeah, for those of you that still drink, it's an excuse to get drunk and do all those fun things. So right now, you would be getting the haircuts, getting the new clothes, getting the new shoes, and cleaning your house. And like I said, you want to get all of that done before the actual New Year, the first stretch of that New Year, because you don't want to be sweeping your house and throwing things away, because it's considered that you're throwing out any of your good luck that you have. So you want to be getting the cleaning done in preparation. And then starting with the days right before February 17th, you would be visiting your ancestors, visiting grave sites, and honoring your dead. You usually would take sweet foods, sticky rice, candies, things of that nature. A lot of people light incense, light candles at the gravesite. They offer up prayers, and they you're feeding your ancestors. also on New Year's Eve, you would leave an extra seat at the table for if you wanted to, if you had family members who can't travel back home for whatever reason, and they are not able to join you at the table for the family reunion dinner, you would leave a seat at the table. Just, it's just a kindness and showing that you want them to be included in all of the good blessings that are coming into your family. So in the days just before Lunar New Year kicks off, any of the chopping of vegetables is supposed to be done, and if you make homemade noodles or things of that nature, it's time to be doing all that, because again, you don't want to be cutting things with a scissor or a knife, because it's considered cutting your luck. So in their honor, don't they have like a little bag? Yep, they do money gifts to the kids, so that's coming. So New Year's Eve is real similar to kind of what we do here. So you celebrate your house beforehand. Traditionally, you paint the door red. What I did when my kids were growing up was I was not going to paint my front door red, but well, in some of the houses it was a rental, so I couldn't have done that anyway. Not that there's anything wrong with a red door, but I would just get either red wrapping paper from celebrating Christmas or red tablecloths from the Dollar Tree, and I would tape them to the door, and then you hang couplets. Couplets are symbols and words, and you usually hang them in two on the door, and those are things that have good luck sayings and all of that on them, and you would hang those on the door. We would do just like people would do Christmas lights around their windows and their doors. We would do it all around the inside of our big front picture window, and have the lantern lights up and all of that. So then so you've in the days before, you've gotten your haircut, you've done your shopping, you've got your clothes, you've shopped for the foods, you've cut any of the vegetables and put those in storage for the meals coming ahead. If you make homemade noodles or wraps for your spring rolls, you might get some of that prepared ahead of time. And it's kind of twofold. The not cutting things during that New Year period is so that you don't cut your long life and your luck, but it's also, this is really sweet, is out of respect for the women in the family who prepare all of the meals, is to allow them to come into the new year with ease without having to be overworked. So that's just a really sweet part of the tradition that not many people know about or think about. So, and then on New Year's Eve, you're supposed to have traveled back to your family's home. Now, men would stay with their parents, and the wife and kids would stay with him, and you would stay with them, and you would do your family reunion dinner with, if you're married, with your husband's family. And you would spend New Year's Eve with them and the first day of the Lunar New Year with your husband's family, out of respect for his family. And then you would not go visit the wife's family until at least the second day in the Lunar New Year. And the thought behind that is because in traditional Asian cultures, the woman leaves her family and she goes and she becomes a part of the husband's family, and she's there to care for him and the family and the children and the elders, and that's where her first responsibility is to that partnership. So if you go back home during the first year of the new year, your families could consider it that you're having trouble in the marriage, so you wouldn't do that. So the New Year's Eve night, the home has already been decorated. You might have some of the foods prepared. You've done the feeding of the ancestors and the visiting of the graves beforehand. And then on New Year's night, you would place in your kitchen, usually, you would have a picture of the kitchen god, and you would usually have, they call it a tray of togetherness, and that has candies and sweets and cookies and nuts, oranges for prosperity, and you would do the lighting of the candles and the incense, and you offer that to the kitchen god, who travels up to heaven or the ethers and shares good words with your ancestors to bring blessings to your hearth, to your kitchen, for the remainder, for the new year. And that's why you use, they use like sticky rice or sweetened candies, things with honey on them, so that the good words stick to his mouth and he carries those to heaven. So just kind of funky, kind of cool stuff. So we would plaster up pictures of the kitchen god in the kitchen, and we'd have the incense, and we have the tray of togetherness and all of that. And then at your reunion dinner, there are certain foods that you would have. That's usually a time when you give the hongbao, which is the red envelope. Some cultures call it lacey, but most people call it hongbao. And hongbao, the red envelope, is the loose translation is keep demon away money, so keeping bad luck away. And in that red envelope, the elders of the family, the grandparents or parents, you give coins or money to the children or to unmarried people, and that's so that you're blessing them in the new year, and that you're hoping and wishing prosperity on them. And I guess give it to the youngest people, because they're your future. They're going to help grow a prosperous life, and in turn share that with the family. So at your reunion dinner, some of the foods that you would have, traditionally, you usually have, and you always have fish, and typically most Asian cultures will have 2 fish for each person, and you eat one on the night of the Lunar New Year, and you save the other one for the next day. And the purpose behind that is carrying the fish. The word for fish kind of sounds like another word that they have, meaning abundance. And so a fish is seen as a, prosperous, fertile, abundant thing to have. So you would have that on your New Year's Eve dinner, and you would have one for each person. And then the second fish that you eat the next day, it sounds like surplus or abundance. So that's what it symbolizes. So you want to eat that the next day and save that. What else? You usually have dumplings or jiaozi, and jiaozi, their traditional shape that they were shaped in, the round dumplings, they're kind of shaped like, it's called an ingot, and that was coin, money, and it's another symbol of prosperity, family, togetherness, and all of that. You would also have the sticky rice, and that word, a word in their language that they have for the Niangao. It sounds like year high, so your year going up, your year prospering. Oh, I love dumplings too. I love dumplings. I'm hoping to go maybe this weekend. I need to look. I want to go. So I live maybe 45 minutes from Cleveland, Ohio. And my favorite place is to go to the Asia Plaza on Payne Avenue. And there's a restaurant there called Liwa's. And it is, there's a whole shopping center in the Asia Plaza. They actually have a big Asian grocery store, and they have a bunch of different businesses in there that are owned by the Asian community. So they have stores with antiques and little knickknacks and things. They have attorneys, what else? There's just all kinds of different businesses that are they're owned by Chinese or Asian families. And then Liwa's restaurant is, it's been there forever. The Chinatown. That's kind of what they call it, is the old Chinatown, Asia Plaza. So in Liwa's restaurant, you go in, and they have it year round on the weekend. I can never remember. I always have to look it up online if it's Saturday or Sunday. But when they have the dim sum, so you go in and there's all these round tables, and if you go in and you're just one person or two people, you're gonna sit at a table with strangers and you eat what they call family style. So everyone just shares the table together, and you watch the servers come around with the little silver carts on wheels, and they have all these little dishes, steamer baskets and plates and metal baskets with the little dim sum. I would love to do that. I would love to go visit your dim sum restaurant. That'd be awesome, Green Eye. So they come all around with the cart, and most of those servers do not speak English. So you just have to grab, like if you see something, you just want to grab and point that you want something, or wave them over, and they'll come over and you point. And if they have one or two on there, if you want more than one, you better tell them then, because it's one of those like things are going to go quick, and you might not get a second chance to get it because the restaurant is packed. So if you see something and you want it, point to it and tell them, 1, 2, whatever, however many you want. They put it in front of you, and they have those little old style paper waitress things they put on your, they write your little paper, and they are writing it in pinyin. So they write it in pinyin, so you can't even read what they're writing there, but they're writing down what it was, and 1 or 2 or whatever, so they know the price. So when you go up to pay for it, then you know what it is. So the menu has English and it has pinyin Mandarin on there. But when the cart comes around, you don't know what the price is on stuff, really. You're just like pointing, and it's mad. It's to me, it's so much fun because you're sitting with strangers, you're pointing at food, and you're like, well, I think that's, such and such. I think that's filled with whatever. You might think that it's pork or chicken or, whatever, vegetables or something sweet. And you don't know, you're just taking your chances. But that's kind of the fun of it. If you're a foodie, that's kind of fun. Yes, it's anarchy. I love it. So that's what Liwa's is like. That's what a lot of dim sum restaurants are like. So so there's I kind of got off track, but so going back to some of the are you the only one confused in here? I don't think you are. Are you confused? I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing. So going back to some of the rest of the foods that you eat on New Year's Eve night, you would have the fish, you would have the jiaozi or dumplings, you would have the tray of togetherness, you would have the sticky or sweet rice balls of rice, any food that we have. No, I don't want a limited time offer. That's stupid. I have some ad coming up on my laptop. It's a whole experience. So I love that. Yeah. How do you know what's going? I'd be like, how do I know what's going on? Yeah, I mean, I would tell. Now but now Green Eye. Now what is happening in the dim sum restaurant. There's a lot of loud chatter and all different languages being spoken, and people pointing and trying to snatch up the best stuff first. So and you have no idea what they're writing on your paper, or so just go with a good amount of money in your pocket. Honestly, I haven't been in a while, but when I did go, it was very, very affordable. I think at the time we have 6 people, and I mean we ate and ate and ate, and they just kept refilling your tea. They had a wonderful jasmine tea. I think that's pretty much most of the foods. Oh, the long noodles. You have long noodles on New Year's Eve because symbolizes, it's another long health, long life kind of thing. So those are the foods that you have, and you stay up all night, and they play, like here in America or other places like us. So basically, Yeah, you went with someone from China and he was handling everything, so you didn't think about it. Yeah, he was just like, okay, this is what we're doing, and you were just like, huh? Yeah, I get it. So yeah, so here in America on New Year's Eve, like our family, we have some kind of funky traditions. If it's just the regular American New Year, we would make a lot of food and we would stay up all night and we would play card games or board games. Usually it's not much different in the Asian culture for their Lunar New Year. They do their grave visiting beforehand and they prep a bunch of the food beforehand and they get, their clothes ready and all of that. And then they stay up all night, and a lot of times they're making homemade jiaozi, homemade dumpling that night together with the family, just making a whole bunch of those. And they're usually playing mahjong or dominoes, card games, things like that. They're giving the money to the kids. They're staying up all night. There's usually people around too with anyone who plays instruments. There's usually live music and all that going on. So it's like an all-night party. And then usually culminates that night or the next day, definitely, but a lot of times that night with the firecrackers going off and all of that. And the reason for the firecrackers and all the loud noise, like they'll have these little, they call these peddler drums, so they do those. That's kind of loud and annoying, but the kids will have these. They'll have those. There's all kinds of noisemakers, like those metal ones that you spin around and they make all the noise. The fireworks and all that is because of a ancient story of the New Year monster called Nian, who came in and they thought, that you wanted to protect yourself from the monster coming in and taking your children, taking your luck. That was, you would paint your door red and you would put up the lucky symbols to ward off evil and bad luck and the monster in the end. You would make all this noise to scare Nian away so that you would try to avert having disaster and death and floods and all these things coming on the new year. So it's about scaring away the bad, more so even than celebrating the new. For us, talk about hood fun. My New Year's Eve tradition here in America on New Year's Eve was, around midnight, everybody would set off fireworks, but you'd also hear gunshots going off at midnight, and everybody, just kind of like the Old West, shooting off their guns at midnight. And we did that. Now the houses were very close together. Were real close together, and so you didn't want to shoot up in the air because you don't want it to hit something and ricochet and come back and hurt you or someone else. So when my partner Lorenzo was alive, we would go out and you could hear the fireworks going off for a couple hours, and she says, no, you don't want to shoot at all. I'm not recommending anyone do this. I'm just sharing a story. So this is for entertainment purposes only, not advice. So we'll preface it with that to keep my butt out of trouble. But what we would do is everyone would be setting off fireworks, and we didn't really care about that. We were just waiting for the midnight hour, and when we could hear all the other guns going off, and he would go out and he would always shoot the shotgun. I'm not a big shotgun person because I'm actually short. I'm like 5'3", and a shotgun kind of knocks me on my butt. I do know how to fire it, but it knocks me on my behind. But he would shoot the shotgun and I would shoot the pistol. And we would shoot it into a big dirt mound that was already specifically for that. And then, he's like, pull. And then you would always hear his mom, God bless her heart, she is still alive. She's 91 years old. You'd always hear Miss Sarah hollering out the window. And the family, his name was Lucius Lorenzo Washington. And, he preferred, once he got older, to be called Lorenzo by his middle name, but his family all called him Lucius, or they called him Baby Bruh. And you'd hear Miss Sarah, you'd hear his mama, because we were staying at their house and helping take care of her and her husband when he was still alive. You'd hear Miss Sarah hollering out the window, Baby Bruh, is that you? What's all that noise going on down there? That ain't you and Missy down there shooting, is it? And of course, every year we'd lie. We'd say, no. No, Ma. That's not us. No, darn well it was. And we had some of the same traditions, like, I think about it in the Lunar New Year thing. You're eating fish for abundance, this and that, and you play games all night. Our tradition was we would have a fish fry. I would make fish, I would fry up fish, and we would have that, and we'd have a fish fry, and we would sit and we would usually play Pity Pat, which is an old black folks card game. Well, I mean, that's who I learned it from. And we would play Pity Pat all night and talk tons of smack like it was a high stakes poker game, and eat sweet stuff, candies and cookies and whatever. And we talk about people who had passed on that we missed. So it was very, very similar. But that's what we did. So yeah. So that was just, was just sharing about some of the traditions and things that you do. And then as Lunar New Year goes on, let's see. So you have the first several days, well, you have the visiting of the ancestors, you have preparing of the food, buying the clothes, all the things. Clean the house before the New Year starts. You have the reunion dinner on New Year's Eve. And then fireworks go on for several days. First day you visit his family. Second day you visit her family. Gift giving. It's like there's very specific things about do's and don'ts of gift giving and what you can say and what you can't say. Like the culture is, we can be, especially the older people, there's a certain way that you do things, and it's just a certain way that you do things and certain things that you don't do, because they believe a lot in, we talk about your words are spells and what you speak. Yes, there's a lot of things, you're right, there's a lot of things that can be offensive. There's a lot of things that, that they believe bring you bad luck. So you just would not do those things. So like even something simple that a lot of people don't know is like when you're using chopsticks. If you're eating with chopsticks, you never point them at somebody. That's literally like you pointing your finger right at somebody, whatever. And it's in older culture, it's considered like you're wishing ill health or death on them, like I'll stab you, kind of thing or whatever. So you don't point them at anybody. You don't wave them all around like that. You pick up your food and you eat with it. And when you're done, to make sure it's not pointing at anybody, you can lay it across your bowl or your plate when you're done to symbolize that you're done with the meal, but you don't want to point it at anybody else. So yeah, so I had a whole big long list of all the things that the do's and the don'ts for Lunar New Year. So there's certain words you don't use, any negative words or language, words like death, sick, empty, pain, ghost, poor, break, anything like that, because you're jinxing yourself and your loved ones. You don't break things. You try not to break glass or ceramics. It's one of those, you're breaking your connection to prosperity and fortune. So if you accidentally do break something, that's just a good thing to incorporate in general. Is you want to be mindful of what you say all the time, not just, and we're not. So often people talk about how tired they are, or how sick they are, or how poor they are, and you're speaking those words into existence. So, the Asian culture has known that for a long time. You don't speak those negative words, and you certainly don't start a new year off with saying negative things like that. If you believe that your words are spells, that's why we call it spelling when you're learning to write. You're creating with your words, because your thoughts are going there, your energy is going there. So, if you do end up breaking things, glass or ceramics, you're supposed to wrap it in red paper, and there's certain words that you say that mean asking for peace and security for every year. It's Sui Sui Ping An, and then you hold on to that in the red paper, and you don't throw it away until after the Lunar New Year has passed, and you're supposed to throw it away in a lake or river. I don't know why, because I'm like, well, that's kind of weird, but maybe because it'll sink and the water will wash away the negative luck or energy. So we already talked about you don't clean or sweep during the first several days of the new year, because you're sweeping away your good luck. If you absolutely have to, because you know your family's all there partying for the reunion dinner, you want to start at like the outer corners and sweep in a circle. Don't sweep out your door, you're sweeping out your luck. So sweep it all into the center to a circle and clean it up and bag it up. And then you're not supposed to throw things away until at least the 5th day. Don't ask me why the 5th day. I don't know. And you're not supposed to shower on New Year's Day. That's washing away your good luck. So you want to shower before and then maybe wait until the day after the new year or whatever to shower. We already said the no knives or scissors, no sharp objects during the new year, especially those first couple days, New Year's Eve and New Year Day. And the reasons were you're giving the women a chance to not have to work so hard in the kitchen. They have a well-deserved break. And you also don't want to cut your luck and your success. Your haircut should be done before Lunar New Year. We talked about not visiting the wife's family until the 2nd day, because it symbolizes or signifies to the family that you're having relationship troubles. This is interesting. You don't demand a debt payment during the Lunar New Year. It's considered a custom of understanding that you will allow others to celebrate the new year without worry. If you do bring up debt that someone owes you, karmic, financial, or otherwise, it's considered bringing bad luck to both parties. It's considered fair to bring it up after the 5th day. You're not supposed to borrow money during this time also. The belief is that if you begin the year borrowing money, you will be in lack and borrowing money all year. So no fighting or crying during the Lunar New Year period. And if a child cries, be cautious, loving, and kind. Don't scold. Solve all issues peacefully to ensure a smooth path to the new year. I thought this was a little bit overboard, but I think it goes along with the not trying to wish or think or speak sickness. No unnecessary medicine, doctor's visits, surgery, or shots if necessary during that time. Only emergency stuff. Focusing on good health instead of bad health. And you want to set aside any of those big major changes, surgeries, and all that if you can avoid doing them until after the Lunar New Year. So you're not supposed to speak a New Year blessing to someone who is in bed. Yeah. Certain things are just not an option if you're thinking about it. Yeah. Let's look, the most accumulate. Yeah, let the luck accumulate for a few days and then you can sweep. Yep, give you a break. Isn't that sweet? That is kind of sweet. You're not supposed to speak a New Year blessing to someone who's in bed. Wait until they get up and allow them time to do so. Don't rush them, because the feeling is they will feel rushed and bossed all year. So in general, most of these rules and traditions and superstitions are all about kindness, peace, understanding, generosity, wishing the best for others. So, just in general, really just kind rules and considerate rules to each other. Because you don't want your luck to just, a law of oneness. That's a beautiful way to think about that, Green Eye. Absolutely. It is considered kind of customary to give gifts when you go traveling and see friends and elders, but you're not expected to bring huge things like we would for if you celebrate, Christmas or whatever. It's not huge gifts. You would really just Things that are considered appropriate would be, the elders giving the hongbao or lacy to children or the unmarried people, which is the red envelopes with money or coins. If you are taking gifts to your family and your elders when you visit, it's just simple things like alcohol, like we would a bottle of wine or whatever, tea, sweets, candies, things of that nature. You do not give a gift of a clock. The word in most Asian cultures for clock sounds like death or paying your last respects. So I kind of took it as time's up. No apples, because in Mandarin the word pinghua sounds like binghua in the Shanghainese, which means dead from being sick. You don't give shoes as a gift because the word sounds like evil or bad luck. And then so far as clothes, like what you wear, red is considered, there's a lot of different words that sound like death. The number 4, there's a lot of words that sound like a similar word for death. Clothing, it used to be that there were certain things that everybody wore. The men would wear the jacket. The women would wear what's it called? The long one is called the cheongsam. I'm blanking on the word for the shorter dress or whatever, but a lot of people don't really wear that anymore. If they stick to the traditions, colors of celebration for the holidays, and even the traditional color in Asian cultures for weddings was red. They didn't wear white dresses. Modern brides do now, but the color of celebration is red and maybe gold. Those are considered lucky colors. If another good thing to consider is if you are not Asian and you are invited somewhere to celebrate Lunar New Year with somebody, do not rush out and get your best silk kung fu jacket and your qipao and your cheongsam and put them on. You should ask if that's appropriate from your host, because you don't want to be considered that you're appropriating their culture. Just ask, would you like me to bring anything, and what would you like me to wear, or just dressy clothes is fine, but you don't want to show up looking like a fool and disrespecting people in general. So that's pretty much it. Everything. I wrote a lot of notes so I wouldn't forget it. And you'd have vegetables like don't wear the rice farmer hat. That is so freaking disrespectful. Don't do that. That would be horribly disrespectful. Green Eyed, I love you so much for all the loveliness in the chat. You're so helpful. And vegetables. There's like certain vegetables that you'd have at the dinner, and they're all, all the certain things are, like certain green vegetables that are for money, just like we would have cabbage in a lot of cultures in America, or Polish cultures. So there's a lot of things that you would have, certain mushrooms or fruits or whatever, that because they sound like, or they're thought to be prosperous, fortune, good luck, whatever. So that's pretty much it. I did do a long I keep calling it long. It really wasn't that long. It's like an hour and a half. The read over on YouTube with all of the zodiac signs, and the reads were kind of short for each one of the animals in the zodiac. I know, it really wasn't that long. I thought I might do I don't know. I'm like, it really wasn't that long because I talked about the history and then I did a short read for each sign. So I might take a break and then do another read and focus in on the signs. But I don't know. I don't know if I really want to do anything else for Lunar New Year. It's a holiday that I love and I'm excited about it. And I'm hoping that I get to see my kids for it. Yeah. I really wasn't trying to go super, super deep into each one, just a general overview of the year, looking ahead for the signs, and just a general, like, be aware of this, that this is something that could trip you up, or this is something that could help you with your success. So it is going to be a big year of changes. We just came through the year of the snake, so that was a lot of change and transformation, and the year 2025 was 2 + 2 + 5, which is 9. So that's a ending of, or nearing the end of, karmic cycles. And in the Lunar New Year, that's definitely going into the year of the horse, and it's a fire horse, and it is considered to be a year of big change and big amplified karma. So the one thing people didn't accomplish was getting wisdom. Yeah, very true. Oh my God, there's just so much stupidity all around the world right now. It really just sickens me. I have a friend who, like, all around the world right now. It really just sickens me. I have a friend who, like, I know they're just, they like intellectual conversation, and so they'll bring up topics that in the news, and want to pick my brain. And I just really hate the news. I've hated the news for so long because it's so negative and there's so much horrible stuff going on in the world. And as an empath, it bothers me. And so I choose not to watch a lot of live news. It does keep people low vibrational and in fear and division and all of that. So I will read through some headlines here and there to try to have some awareness of what's going on in the world. But generally, I feel like if you're watching news all day, then you are just feeding that into your brain and just staying in that vibration of fear and hate and division. So yeah, you don't watch TV. You have a TV in your room. You've never even plugged it in. That is wild. That is wild. I don't watch live TV really at all. I do watch some Netflix and I watch YouTube. That is wild. When I moved into this new house. I moved in the end of April, and mainly because I wanted the TV mounted on the wall. I wanted a big TV mounted on the wall like it was at my old house, and I didn't have anyone because I wanted the TV mounted on the wall. I wanted a big TV mounted on the wall like it was at my old house, and I didn't have anyone who would do it for me. So it just sat, and I don't think I even had it hooked up and running for a couple of months, 3-4 months. And then I still was so busy unpacking and trying to get things settled that probably moved in the end of April. And I think the first time I ever actually sat and watched like a half of a movie was not even until September or October. So yeah, I still have a hard time even watching like a whole. I used to, when the kids were younger, I would watch a movie, and yeah, I just don't. I think I'm gonna switch. I was thinking about getting Gaia TV, because it has a lot of spiritual stuff and nature stuff and all of that. So you don't even like it for the sound. Oh wow. Yeah, now I do. I like music to sleep to. I like frequency music, but that's probably because I had PTSD really bad. And so for a couple of years, I was waking up a lot, not sleeping well. And I would have panic attacks. So the frequency music helped me to get to sleep and to stay asleep better. So I do listen to music sometimes when I'm sleeping, but more and more I have found that I don't need the lights on in the room. Yes, I had gotten to a point where I even needed the lights on, and I've gotten more and more to where there don't have to be lights on in the room, and I don't have to have noise on in the room. It can be dark and I can relax. I don't do it all the time, but more often than I used to. So but that just took a lot of time. That just took a lot of time for me. So I don't know. I'm thinking I might do some other reads. I've got to reach behind my laptop and grab the 3 decks that I had out. So maybe I'll do a quick read. Greenhead, thank you so much for being here and chatting with me. I see other people who joined and didn't say a whole lot. I think Universal Soul Chatter is my friend Anthony. Are you still here, Anthony, or did you have to dip out? You might be working. I don't know. But I was very happy to see you here and see you doing that. So that was really cool. Okay, that's... No, that was really sweet. I appreciate it. Ooh, my ears are ringing really bad. Really bad. All right, let me light another. I'm gonna light another incense, and then I'm gonna just do some card pulls and see what I get. How are you feeling tonight, Green Eye? You good? And when are you gonna do a live? You're feeling all right? Good. That's good. I need to get some more Palo Santo. I think I'm out of that. And I had a sage, so that's horrible. Yeah, you can't tell that I'm feeling miserable. Yeah, I literally. Yeah, I am. I don't feel great. Thank you. I don't feel great, but I try not to show it. For anyone who's viewing and watching and doesn't know, I was in the emergency room just 3 Fridays ago. And if I didn't have a good friend who happened to be here at the house at the time, who heard me screaming for help, that called the ambulance for me, I might not be here. So I really think I was Green Eye. I really think I was going into medical shock. It was pretty bad. So I have colon issues. I have diverticulitis, and I was having a flare up. I had a blockage, and I was cramping and I was vomiting for a couple hours, and I didn't want to say anything and ask for help because I'm stubborn, and I just thought I'd power through it because I have before. And I think I was going into medical shock. I've never had that much pain in my life, and I think it was when the blockage moved through and tore something. There was fluid on my abdomen, and my arms and my hands went numb, and I couldn't think straight, and I couldn't call for help. So really was a good thing that there was another person around who heard me screaming and came and called 911 for me. So yeah, that is sometimes it's really sad because I've actually had that medical condition. I've had diverticular problems for years and years and years, and because I've actually had that medical condition. I've had diverticular problems for years and years and years, and you know, I would eat good for a while and then not. I love food. I really don't eat healthy. Struggled with my weight for years. Yeah, this is literally, this is okay. This is your last warning. We're not going to tell you again. You got to straighten up and fly right. Yeah. So I had a grandpa. Oh, why am I buffering? Life will end. Oh, it's telling me we have detected inactivity during your current life. I'm not. No. It's saying, okay. It's saying I gotta do this stupid puzzle. Drag the puzzle piece into place. There we go. Don't end. Yeah, so it was literally, I dragged the puzzle piece. So hopefully it will not end my life. But waiting on it, it's buffering. Yeah, it was like my wake-up call. If the live ends, I'm sorry, it's saying that it's going to end in 4 minutes, and I did do the little stupid puzzle that it told me to do, but it's buffering like it didn't take it, so I don't know if it will or it won't take it. I'm trying to see the chat. Yeah. Yeah. Drag the puzzle. Why? It's telling me to do it again. Okay, I did the puzzle again. Right, TikTok, take it. Take it. Take it. Anyway, yeah, because I was gonna pull cards, but who knows? Maybe not. Okay, I think it took it. Yay. Yeah, that was green-eyed. That definitely was like Spirit's last warning to me, because I hadn't been taking care of my health for a long time. And I do have a grandfather who had colon cancer and died. I had 2 uncles who had the same colon issue that I have. I had a family friend who had it, and he passed away from it. And my brother just, frickin' micromanaging TikTok, making me do the puzzle. And my brother, not long, September, had a whole bunch of his colon removed because of the same colon issue that I have, that I was just in the hospital for. So he had a big part of his colon removed, and was off work for quite a while. And he's back to work now, but he lives out near Seattle, Washington. So I have the Divine Doorways card. So I'm just going to do a quick read for whoever's here. No, I do. I think at some point I will be able, you think I'm going to be able to be normal? I have never been normal in my life, but thank you for saying that. No, I think I will. I think I'll be able to be normal and live a normal life. I just definitely had to change. What? No, I know. Yeah, I know. I was. Yeah, nothing about what I was worried like afterwards. I was very worried about all that. But I've been trying to change what I'm eating and what I'm doing, and I'm eating a lot of plant-based foods. I think there will be a point where I can return to eating some, if I want to, meat, but right now I'm not. I'm kind of limited on a soft, low fiber, low residue diet, and so I'm having a lot of plant-based foods and rice noodles, that kind of stuff, and I'm omitting wheat. I haven't had real dairy in a long time anyway. I use the vegan cheese if I want cheese now, which isn't horrible, but most of the time I just try not to have it. But man, do I miss pizza. I'm gonna experiment. If anyone out there has, vegan cheese. Yeah, I think it's made out of soy or something. I am really missing pizza so bad. And I know that it sits like cement in my gut because of the combo of I could do a cauliflower crust. Yeah, I know. I don't know. That banana bread was like, the texture is, I made banana bread today with bananas and walnuts, and I used almond flour. And so that was the first time I've ever baked with that. And it does definitely have a little different texture. It's a little gritty tasting almost. And it was a very health conscious recipe. I do think I would add, next time I make it,